This is BoomerLife on CL 650.
Whenever you're near, I hear a symphony.
You're listening to BoomerLife on CL 650. I'm George Gordon. Today we're talking about the dramatic impact of hearing loss, but more importantly, the solutions you can find with NexGen Hearing. And in the studio with us is audiologist Dr. Ted Venema. Dr. Ted, let's hear more about the noise reduction story beyond microphones.
Okay, yeah, the digital noise reduction, of course, came out with digital hearing aids when they emerged. And what it does, it's like an artificial intelligence. It tries to separate speech from background noise. And how does it do this? It listens to what is the acoustics. What are the acoustics of noise? What is noise compared to sounds you want to hear? Noise is a fan, air conditioner, traffic, even background cocktail party, blah, 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 babble and hubbub. Now, what do the sound waves look like in noise? When you think of the word noise and you think of what it is, it's usually what you don't want to hear, right? And if people looked scientifically at the sound waves of noise, you'll find no pattern in it. There's no sound wave. There's no up and down that makes sense, that you can look at with your eyes and go, And what that means is that the intensity of noise, like a fan or an air conditioner, it stays the same over time, doesn't it?
Right.
Waterfalls, just traffic, honk, honk, or just noise generally stays relatively the same in loudness as time goes on. But speech, listen to my speech. Speech is, as musicians would say, staccato. Speech is constantly fluctuating. As I say, constantly. I think dogs and cats must be laughing their heads off at us. Because there they sit on their four paws, and here's this human standing up on 2 feet, and he or she is with their mouth.
But they understand food.
Yeah, they understand food. Crack that tin, and they're there. They're so much smarter than we are. So, they don't start wars either. But, speech, the acoustics or the sound waves of speech are constantly getting taller and smaller, because the speech is louder and softer. And that's what the digital hearing aid looks at. It uses statistics. It uses math, again, to analyze the sound waves coming in. Are they staying the same in loudness over time? Therefore, it is noise. Reduce intensity, reduce the amplification. Then, if the sound coming into the microphone changes rapidly in loudness over time, if it's must be speech, amplify more. Weird, huh?
Well, it's hard to comprehend. I mean, you can see the results of it, and you can hear better and so on. But to understand, I mean, there must be like a giant computer somewhere that's sorting all this out.
Well, they used to be big. Computers used to be big in order to do this. Now they've squeezed it into hearing aids about the size of a kidney bean. I mean, so you're taking a digital signal processor, tiny little chip inside of your hearing aid, is analyzing the sound waves coming in. And are they big in bumps, changing lots, getting louder and softer quickly? Or are they staying the same in loudness over time? In other words, or is it and if it's oh, it must be speech, amplify. If it's steady, oh, it must be noise, decrease the amplification. So back to our programs. A program for listening in quiet will have bass, mid, and treble amplification, microphones that are picking up sounds in all directions, omnidirectional microphone, and no digital noise reduction. Enter program 2. All of a sudden, people come into a room, now there's background noise, the hearing aid automatically goes into program 2. Less bass amplification to get rid of background noise, more treble amplification to increase the loudness of high-pitched consonants of speech, Okay. Secondly, the hearing aid goes into directional mode. So the microphones are picking up sounds now in front of me rather than from all around. And thirdly, the digital noise reduction kicks in. And now I've got a triad. I've got three things going on to fight background noise. And the hearing aid will automatically go into the programs without you changing it, unless you chose not to have that option.
The advancements seem to have come quickly in the last few years. Like, I mean, compared to 30 years ago, it's night and day.
Yeah.
But even what we're talking about here right now, this magical processing, which can identify, spoken words as opposed to the noises going on in behind, doing it automatically and setting it. How do people, when you're bringing them into for a NexGen fitting or hearing and understanding, how long does it take you to do this test to determine their particular needs and then to be able to get them a working unit?
Oh, a hearing test, we want to meet you, take a case history, ask some questions. Where are your problems? Then we do a hearing test, which takes about 30 minutes or something like that. And we test you with not only your sensitivity for hearing tones, bass, mid, and treble, but also for speech. And then we need to know whether to refer you to a physician or not. And if you haven't got any real reason for that, if it's just typical hearing loss, we can go ahead and program a set of hearing aids for you. And hearing aids usually are worn as a pair. We don't want to be like Colonel Klink wearing a monocle. But if you've got hearing loss in both ears, it behooves of one to get stereo and wear hearing aids in both ears, and I always say to people too, a hearing loss is more conspicuous than a hearing aid. It's like, and you think of the stigma of hearing aids. I mean, I'm going to just put myself into the public shoes here. And you think of hearing aids compared to glasses, and you think, they don't work that well. They're kind of shady, kind of hearing aid dealers.
Some guy with a suitcase full of them coming to your door.
It's got a shady reputation, sold out of hotel rooms.
Oh boy.
Out of the trunk of cars. I mean, those were the dirty days and here people who sold hearing aids were called hearing aid dealers. I mean, that sounds like a drug dealer, It's like a hearing aid dealer. What the heck? Call your glasses dealer. Right. But you think of age when you think of hearing loss, you think of senility. I can't hear you,
Right.
And it has a whole social stigma to it that vision doesn't. And hearing aid development, let's face it, as you said, it's quickening. The pace has quickened but in the 70s, 80s, 90s, things just crawled along until all of a sudden, boom, there's been this big exponential growth. And kids are wearing things in their ears all the time. It's called ear gear. Mm-hmm. I mean, the time has come, in my opinion, to cease looking at hearing loss in that light, in that negative, with the stereotypes that we've done.
And with the research, with the greater integrity of the companies, especially NexGen, who have really worked hard on the science of this, you no longer have to think of the solution as being worse than the problem, and you already think the problem is pretty dire. And, there's a lot of reputations.
And people put off buying hearing aids for at least 5 to 7 years after they need them. Research has shown that again and again and again. And that's what we at NexGen want to correct. I mean, there's early intervention is the best, and you've got nothing to lose. Like zero to lose, because you can return hearing aids you're not committed to a sale. We're not out there to sell you hearing aids like a dealer. We're in the healthcare field, just like optometry is. That is the same thing. And hearing loss is so prevalent. 30% of people over 65 have significant hearing loss. 50% of people over 75 have significant hearing loss. So anyone who's worried about it or who knows someone with hearing loss like this, you're in good company. It is as common as the day is long.
We could talk about this for another hour. I know there's so many implications. I'll be interested in our next conversation to hear about, where you got, where the impetus. I mean, there's the demand for it. Obviously, it's pressured the industry to come up with better products. I'd like to, I'm sure that the education field, I'm sure that the workplace has, unfortunately, we've run out of time for today.
Our next time, I'm going to bring in a guest, someone who fits hearing aids, a clinician who fits hearing aids on a daily living.
That's great.
And he's going to talk about his experiences in fitting clients.
And maybe dispel some of the fears that clients might have about getting those things in your ears.
Yep.
You've been listening to Boomer Life on CL 650, talking to Dr. Ted Venema from NexGen Hearing. If you want more information about what we've been talking about today, go to nextgenhearing.com.